There's a moment in everyone's life when the elevator feels like it's still going down. You look around, your friends are miles ahead, your dreams are somewhere behind you, and you whisper, maybe it's too late. But what if rock bottom isn't the end, it's the reset? Today, I want to tell you a story, not of success, but of the fall before it. Because the truth is, change doesn't start when you've made it. It starts the moment you finally admit you're falling. And by the time we reach the last frame, you'll see exactly why it's never too late to rise again. The weight of too late. Every morning you scroll, and there it is, someone younger, richer, fitter, already there. You tell yourself the same quiet lie. I missed the window. But the timeline you're chasing was never real. We were taught to race grades, jobs, marriages, milestones, until our worth depended on how far ahead we looked on someone else's track. Yet life isn't a race. It's a series of restarts. You can rebuild at 20 or 70. The only thing truly lost is the moment you spend believing you're out of time. Change doesn't punish delay. It rewards awareness. And that awareness starts here. Childhood shadows. Think back to when you were a kid, before the noise, before the race. Maybe you remember the first time someone made you feel small, bullied, laughed at, told you weren't enough. That's where many of our stories bend. We learn early that love must be earned, that approval is survival. So we shape-shift. We become whoever gets the nod, the compliment, the good job. But the truth is no one can outrun their own reflection. You don't have to keep performing for a standing ovation that never comes. The person you've been pretending to be is exhausted. The person you really are is still waiting for permission. And that permission only needs one signature, yours. The perfect life that felt wrong. Fast forward to adulthood. On paper, everything checks out: degree, job, apartment, maybe even the right car. You should feel proud, but instead there's that low hum inside, like static under the surface. You tell yourself to push through it. Everyone else seems fine, but that hum is a signal. You're living someone else's definition of enough. We ignore those knocks, the missed signs, the little frictions, until life raises its voice. A sleepless night, a job you dread, a mirror you can't meet. The universe always starts with a whisper before it sends the storm. The question is, will you listen before it gets loud? Escaping with substitutes. When you can't stand the silence, you reach for noise. For some it's a bottle, for others it's a phone, a feed, a person who feels like home but isn't. At first, the escape works. The drink calms the nerves, the scroll distracts the mind, the relationship fills the gap. But comfort turns to cage. Just one more, becomes the chain you fasten yourself. Addiction isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just repetition that steals tomorrow. And when the escape wears off, you're left with the same pain, plus a hangover of regret. That's the moment you realize what you thought was helping you cope is what's keeping you stuck. Spiral into chaos. The slide never feels sudden. One day you're managing, the next you're surviving. Mornings start with promises you'll do better and end with proof you didn't. You lie to the mirror, to people who love you, to yourself. Rock bottom isn't an address. It's the point where pain finally outweighs fear. You think the crash will wake you up, but even in the wreckage you can still hit snooze. Friends pull back. Family sets boundaries. You hate them for it, until you see they were the mirror you refused to face. The truth is brutal. No one can rescue you from a life you're still defending. The quiet morning of willingness. Change doesn't always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it's a quiet morning after 1,000 loud nights. You wake up hungover on regret, not just from the drink or the scrolling or the chaos, but from every promise you've broken to yourself. And suddenly, there's silence. Not peace exactly, but space. In that space lives a single thought. I don't want to live like this anymore. That thought is gold. It's the doorway every transformation walks through. Don't wait for lightning. Listen for that whisper. Because willingness never knocks twice. The second you feel it, move. Action first, clarity later. That's how rock bottom turns into solid ground. rebuilding but empty inside. Getting sober, leaving the job, cutting the noise, none of it fixes the silence that follows. You clean up the surface, but underneath the questions stay. Who am I without the chaos? What do I even want now? So you rebuild. You eat better, you work harder, you smile when people say they're proud. But sometimes progress feels like pretending. You've changed the scenery, not the story. Healing isn't about running from who you were. It's about learning to sit beside that version of yourself without judgment. The emptiness isn't failure. It's the space being cleared for something real to grow. The staircase moment. One morning you climb a flight of stairs, and halfway up, your heart pounds like a drum. You stop, not from pain, but realization. You've been surviving, not living. For years you waited for motivation, not knowing that action is what creates it. You take another step, slower this time, and something clicks. Mood follows movement. Change isn't built on inspiration. It's built on tiny, repeated acts of defiance against who you used to be. Every step you take says, I'm not done yet. That's the day you stop chasing miracles and start becoming one. Reinvention and resistance. Reinvention looks romantic from a distance. Up close, it's a grind of false starts and small humiliations. You apply for jobs that ghost you, chase ideas that flop, and wonder if you've traded one failure for another. The people around you don't always cheer. Some prefer the older version of you. They knew how to manage that one. Resistance isn't proof you're off course. It's confirmation you're leaving the old orbit. Every failure teaches you a language only persistence understands. Reinvention isn't one big leap. It's the discipline of standing up one more time and you fall. Progress rarely feels like victory. It feels like repetition that suddenly starts to make sense. The cost of chasing validation. Success arrives quietly, and somehow it's never loud enough. The numbers rise, the compliments land, yet inside, you still feel like the same unfinished story. You start chasing applause instead of alignment. Validation becomes the new addiction, harder to spot, easier to justify. Until one day, you realize you've built a life that looks good on paper but feels like someone else's resume. The truth hits softly. Achievement without authenticity is just another form of escape. When you stop performing for approval, you start living for meaning. That's where real freedom begins. Learning to let the sun hit your shoulders. Peace doesn't announce itself. It sneaks in during the smallest moments. A quiet morning coffee, a walk without headphones, the sound of your own breath slowing down. For years you chased intensity. Now you crave presence. You start to see beauty in boredom, lessons in stillness. The world didn't change, you did. You've learned that control was never the goal. Connection was. And for the first time, you don't need life to be perfect to feel grateful for it. That's when you know you're finally living, not just surviving. The line in the sand. There comes a day when the past stops negotiating. You draw a line in the sand and decide, the person I used to be is no longer in charge. You won't win every battle. You'll stumble, repeat mistakes, and face old ghosts that knock politely before barging in. But every time you choose to start again, you teach the universe you're serious. Consistency is louder than perfection. Life isn't waiting for a better version of you. It's built by the one showing up right now. That's the quiet secret of transformation. It's not too late, and it never was. The second sunrise. One day, you'll look back at this chapter and realize it wasn't an ending. It was a rebirth. The second sunrise doesn't come with applause. It comes with peace. You'll walk past mirrors and finally nod at the person staring back. You'll stop counting what you lost and start noticing what you became. And when someone younger, older, or lost asks if it's too late, you'll smile. Because you'll know the truth we spent a lifetime trying to learn. Every day you wake up is another chance to begin. Your beginning starts now. Not tomorrow. Not on Monday. Today. And it starts with one question. Pause this video, grab your phone, and type one sentence to yourself. The story I'm ready to let go of is... Save it. That is your line in the sand. Your second sunrise is waiting.